to day 30 of my 6th annual SLAP challenge. SLAP, S-L-A-P, stands for squats, lunges, abs, and push-ups. We are doing 40 squats, 40 lunges, 40 reps of an ab exercise, and 40 push-ups a day, every single day, except Sundays for 40 days. And this is day 30 already, but that does not mean that it is too late to join the challenge. It is never too late to join the challenge. Of course, you don't have to join the challenge. If you just want to do this workout with me today, that's fantastic. There are timestamps in the description box down below the video. So if you would prefer to just skip straight ahead to the workout, you can go ahead and use the chapter markers to do that. But if you would like to join the challenge, let me just tell you that you can jump in and start today with day 30, and that's fine. But if you want to go back and start on day 1 of the challenge, that is recommended. So I will tell you that there is a playlist for this challenge. I'm going to link the playlist up here in the iCard. It will also be linked in the description box down below the video, and I will link it at the very end of the video as well so that you can't miss it. So click on that link, open the playlist, and then save the playlist. Even if you're on the fence about the challenge and you don't know if you want to commit to it yet, save the playlist so that when and if you do decide to do the challenge, you have all of the workouts readily available to you. And then just begin by watching that day 1 workout. If you watch the video that I shared on day 1, it includes the workout we did on day 1, but it also includes everything you need to know about what the challenge is, how it works, where to begin, why we're doing it, and I also showed you the proper form for how to do squats, lunges, abs, and push-ups correctly, and I provided tons of beginner modifications that I promise you absolutely can do. I'm going out of my way this year to make sure that this challenge is accessible to super duper beginners. Ultra, day 1 beginners. So if you have never done a workout before in your entire life and you don't think you can do squats or you don't think you can do push-ups, yes you can. Begin by watching that day 1 video, and once I have convinced you that you can do squats, you can do lunges, you can do abs, you can do push-ups, and you can do this challenge, all you have to do is make the commitment. So if 40 reps of everything is too much for you every day, you can customize the challenge and make it your own. If you make the commitment to do this challenge and you're the one doing it, it becomes your challenge. So you do it in whatever way works for you. I do have a few people who are doing this challenge, but they can't do 40 reps of everything every day. So they're doing 30 reps, 20 reps, 15 reps. All right, so make sure to keep your mind open. Remember that it's very easy to customize this challenge. You have all of your beginner modifications that I showed you on day 1, and I've been showing you beginner modifications for each individual workout pretty much every single day of the challenge. So if on any given day you are wanting to do the workout that I'm doing, but there's just one exercise that isn't working for you, just swap it out. So let's say today you can't do the squat variation that I'm doing, but you still like the workout and you want to work out along with the video, great, just swap out the squat variation that I'm doing with a different squat variation that you can do. It's so easy to customize this challenge and make it your own. And if you can't commit to doing all 40 days, maybe just commit to doing 20 days or 30 days or 10 days. It's always better to do something than nothing. So please click on the link, save the playlist, watch that day 1 video, and then once you have decided you want to participate in the challenge, you have a couple of options. You can jump in and just start today. That's fine. Again, it's your challenge. Do it in a way that works for you. If you just want to do the last couple of weeks of the challenge, then do the last couple of weeks of the challenge. But if you want to go back and start on day 1 of the challenge, that is recommended. That's how I designed the challenge, and that's how I'm doing the challenge. So if you want to start on day 1, just make sure that you start with your day 1 workout on a Wednesday. Any random Wednesday will work. As long as you start with that day 1 workout on a Wednesday, all you have to do is follow along with the playlist, and everything will fall into place. I've made it super easy to follow along, but please remember that I am right here doing the challenge with you. I am not only working out with you every single day, I am also here to help. So I can answer questions, provide guidance. I am more than happy to help motivate and encourage you along the way. So don't hesitate to reach out if you have any questions or if you need help. Now, again, I am making a concerted effort this year to ensure that the challenge is accessible to beginners. So if you are not a beginner, then the workouts we're doing this year for the challenge are probably not going to challenge you very much. So you may want to follow along with last year's playlist. Last year was my 5th year in a row doing the challenge. It was the same challenge. We were doing at least 40 squats, 40 lunges, 40 reps of abs, and 40 push-ups a day every single day except Sundays for 40 days. But the workouts we were doing last year were much more intense. They were more difficult. They were generally much longer because we were frequently doing more than just those 160 reps. And we were usually doing more challenging variations of squats, lunges, abs, and push-ups. We were also adding weight to a lot of the workouts, and most of the workouts I was incorporating at least about 20 to 30 minutes of moderate paced cardio right into the workout. So if you are more advanced and you want something that's really going to challenge you, go ahead and check out last year's playlist. And again, I will link the playlist for the challenge we did last year up here in the iCard. It will also be linked in the description box down below the video, and I will link it at the very end of this video. So if you're more advanced, make sure to save last year's playlist, but save this year's playlist also, because even if you are capable of doing the more intense, more challenging workouts that we did last year for the challenge, the workouts we're doing this year are still a great option to have. These are all still great workouts. They're just a lot shorter, a lot simpler, but if you're in good shape, you're going to be able to complete almost all of the workouts we're doing for the challenge this year in under 10 minutes. So on days where you have absolutely no time, it's a great option to be able to just get your reps done in under 10 minutes with one of these workouts that we're doing this year. Also, I'm really focusing on body weight exercises this year because, again, this year I'm really trying to make sure the challenge is accessible to beginners. So I'm kind of assuming that beginners don't have access to fitness equipment. So we're not using dumbbells or kettlebells or my sandbag or my oogie ball like we did last year. So if you're wanting to take your workout to the park today or the beach or the hiking trail and you don't want to be lugging a bunch of heavy equipment with you, then one of these body weight workouts that we're doing this year is perfect. You can also use it as a warm-up for something more intense. So if you're getting ready to go for a long run or a bike ride or a hike or something, one of these short bodyweight workouts that we're doing this year can make a great warm-up for you. So make sure you save both playlists, even if you're really advanced and you're capable of doing more than these workouts we're doing this year. They're a great option to have, and you can just kind of bounce around back and forth between the two playlists. Or you can bounce around within one playlist or the other playlist. I'm presenting the challenge in a very orderly fashion. Okay, I'm sharing a brand new workout every day, and the workouts are numbered days 1 through 40. That's the way I designed the challenge. That's the way I'm doing the challenge. And of course, you're more than welcome to do that. You're more than welcome to start with day 1 on a Wednesday and just do a new workout with me every single day and go in order days 1 through 40, sticking with one playlist. That's great. But again, it's your challenge, so you do it in a way that works for you. If you open the day's workout and it's not, you're not vibing with it, it's not gonna work for you, just pick any other workout off of either of the playlists and do that one instead. So if there was a workout that we did a week or 2 ago that you loved, just repeat that workout, it's fine. And again, if there's just one exercise that I'm doing that's not working for you, just swap it out with a different variation of that exercise. But as long as you're getting your reps done, it doesn't matter which workout you do off of which playlist, and it doesn't even matter if you do a structured workout at all. So if you don't have time to do a structured workout, or if it's just too difficult for you to do all of your reps at one time, then you can just spread out your reps throughout the day. That is absolutely fine. You could get up in the morning and first thing do 10 squats, 10 lunges, 10 reps of any ab exercise you want, 10 push-ups. Then you can just repeat that 3 more times throughout the course of the day. It can be any variation of those 4 exercises you want. You can do it again after lunch. You can do it again after you get home from work, and then once more before bed. There's your 160 reps. So as long as you're getting your reps done, it doesn't matter how or where or when you get them done, and it doesn't matter what variation of squats, lunges, abs, and push-ups you are doing. So that's it. That's the challenge in a nutshell. Please, again, remember, I'm here if anything is unclear or if you have questions about the challenge itself, how it works, where to begin, how you can participate. All right, so don't hesitate to reach out if you have questions or if you need help. So now let's go ahead and get into what we're doing for today's workout. I'm going to be going in order again. When I say going in order, what I'm talking about is that we are spelling the word slap. So our circuit is going to start with S for squats, then we're doing lunges, then we're moving on to abs, and we're finishing out our circuit with push-ups, okay? So starting with our lunge component, this lunge variation that I'm doing today is a bit advanced, but don't worry because of course I will be providing beginner modifications and impact-free modifications. I'm going to be jumping. So if you can't jump for whatever reason, either because it hurts your knees, or you have cranky downstairs neighbors or a sleeping baby in the next room and you don't want to be making noise, you don't have to jump. Okay, so let's start by just going over the proper form for a basic air squat, because this is going to apply to any squat variation you choose to do. Most of this is also going to apply to our lunge variation as well. So with squats and lunges, the first thing you want to do is imagine trying to tuck your shoulder blades into your back pockets so that your shoulders are back as though you're kind of pinching your shoulder blades together behind you and they're down, meaning away from the ears. So if you find your shoulders up here, push them down, push them back, okay? Visualize trying to tuck your shoulder blades into your back pockets. That's also going to help you keep your chest lifted nice and high, and that's what we want. You want to maintain that sensation of your chest lifted throughout the entire exercise. The next thing you want to do is really tighten up your abs. You want your entire core engaged, but if you really tighten up your abs, that's what's important. So if you imagine someone's about to come along and punch you in the stomach as hard as they can, think about how you would brace yourself for that impact. That's how tight your abs should be. All right, so now our shoulders are back and down, our chest is lifted high, our abs are tight. The next thing we need to think about is not squatting, because if you think about just squatting straight down, what's going to tend to happen is that your knees are going to end up out over your toes. And that's really not the movement, and it's also a really good way to hurt your knees. My knees don't even like it when I demonstrate that movement for you, okay? So make sure you're not thinking about squatting straight down. What you want to do is actually think about hinging at the hips. So if you imagine that you are trying to touch the wall behind you with your booty, look what that does for me. I went from my knees being out over my toes like this, to now hinging at the hips, trying to touch the wall behind me with my booty. Now all of my weight is over my heels and I can actually pick up my toes. Remember also that this entire time, you're keeping your chest lifted nice and high. So at the same time that you're imagining trying to touch the wall behind you with your booty, I also want you to think about trying to touch the wall in front of you with your chest. So you want to keep your spine nice and elongated. And the reason is because we want our back flat, okay? Those are your two kind of bullet points for squats and lunges really. Flat back, weight in the heels. So if you find that you're allowing your back to be rounded like this, that's not what we want. So remember to tuck those shoulder blades into the back pocket. Shoulders are back and down, chest is lifted high, and now look at my back. See, it's nice and flat, okay? So shoulders back and down, chest lifted high, abs are tight. Push the booty back, trying to touch the wall behind you with your booty, trying to touch the wall in front of you with your chest. Your spine's nice and elongated. And we're checking off our bullet points, right? My back is flat, my weight is in my heels, and I can pick up my toes. Then from here is where you want to go ahead and sink down into your squat. See if you can try to at least get your thighs parallel to the ground. You may not be there. It's really important to work to your own level, so don't push your body into doing something it's not ready to do. As long as your back is flat and the weight is in your heels, that's what matters. So if you can only sink this deep into the squat, then this is your squat, okay? Be where you are. But eventually, you want to have that goal in mind of hopefully getting your thighs so that they're parallel to the ground, all right? And then once you're as deep as you're going to sink into the squat, you're going to press your heels into the ground to stand. And when I say press your heels into the ground, I mean really actively press your heels into the ground as though you're trying to push the ground away from you with your heels. It's just going to help activate all of the muscles in your feet, through your legs, your quads especially, your glutes, and of course your abs are already nice and strong and tight and engaged. And that's your air squat, okay? So shoulders back and down, chest is high. Push the booty back, keep your back flat, keep the weight in your heels as you sink down into your squat, and then press the ground away with your heels to stand. All right, so that is your basic air squat. And if you want to just stay there, you can just do air squats. That's fine. I'm going to be adding a couple of things. So the first thing I'm going to add is a jump. So I'm going to squat, but then instead of just standing and returning to my starting position, I'm going to jump. All right, so I'm going to squat and jump. So if you want to add the jump, feel free, just to make sure that you're landing softly on the balls of your feet when you come down from your jump. The movement should be entirely under control. You want to make sure that when you jump, you're not landing flat on your foot. Make sure definitely you're not landing on your heel first. Make sure you're landing softly on the ball of your foot and then rolling your heel down. All right, you really want to make sure that you're only doing the jump if you can do so safely. All right, so if you need to eliminate the jump, eliminate it. If you want, you can come up onto your toes and then place the heels down instead of jumping. That's a modification. All right, just make sure if you do that again, the movement is under control. So you're gonna squat and then you can lift the heels, lift them with control and lower them with control. Okay, make sure you're not just letting your heels drop down. Make sure that the movement's under control. So you're lifting with control and you're lowering with control. All right, so you can jump, or you can do a calf raise, or you can just skip it, okay, and just stand. Those are your options. I'm going to add a second element. After my jump, I'm going to add an oblique knee twist. So I'm going to shift my weight into one leg. I'm going to pick up the other foot, bend the knee, and as I do that, I'm going to twist my body thoracically and bring my elbow to meet the knee. I'll bring the elbow on the opposite side to meet the knee, all right? And I'll be alternating sides with my oblique knee tuck for each rep. So it's all put together, it will look like this. I'm going to squat, jump, and now shift my weight to one side, lift the knee, and twist, bringing knee to elbow. Put the foot down, that's one rep. Right into my next rep. Squat and jump, and now other side, shift the weight into the opposite foot, lift the other leg, bring the knee up towards my chest, twist my body thoracically, bringing the opposite elbow to meet the knee. And that's rep number 2. Squat, jump, lift the knee, and twist, bringing knee to elbow. Other side, squat, jump, oblique knee twist. Okay, so if the oblique knee twist is too difficult because maybe you have trouble balancing on the leg, again, you can omit it. That's absolutely fine. If you need to hold on to something for support, remember you can always hold on to a strong, sturdy, stable surface for support. So I'm going to demonstrate by using this flimsy plastic folding chair, but please do not use a flimsy plastic folding chair. I'm just using this so that you can see what I'm talking about. But if you do need to hold on to a chair or some other elevated surface for support, that's great. Just make sure that, unlike this chair, make sure that your chair is strong enough to support your entire body weight. Make sure that it is sturdy, meaning that it cannot fold up on you or collapse or break when you put weight on it. So make sure that it's a good quality chair or bar stool or whatever you're using. Make sure it's well made. Make sure it's in decent condition so that when you put weight on it, it's not going to collapse or break or fold up on you. And finally, you want to make sure that your elevated surface is stable. And when I say stable, I mean that it cannot slide from underneath you when you put weight on it. So for example, if I'm working out in my living room, I have wood floors. And if I need to use a chair, I'm going to grab one of my dining room chairs, which is also wood. But it's really easy for those wood chairs to slide along my wood floors. So what I do is I place my chair on top of an exercise mat or a yoga mat to help it stay put, so that when I put weight on it, it's not going to slide from underneath me. All right, so as long as your elevated surface, your chair or bar stool or whatever, is strong enough to support your weight, sturdy enough so that it will not collapse or break or fold up when you put weight on it, and stable enough so that it can't slide from underneath you when you put weight on it, then any number of elevated surfaces will work. So you could use a chair or a bar stool. You could also use the arm of your couch. your dining room table, your kitchen counter. If you want to take this workout to the park, you can use a park bench, or if you own a park bench, I own a park bench. I mean, you know, that's another possibility. Of course, if you have like a plyo box or like a weight bench, that would be ideal, but get creative, use what you've got. Any number of elevated surfaces will work as long as it is strong enough, sturdy enough, and stable enough to be used safely. So use your common sense and be safe, please. But if you need to hold on to something for support, you can hold on to your chair for support while you squat. And then you can hold on to your chair to help steady you. If you struggle with balance, it's going to make the calf raise a lot easier. So if the calf raise is something that you think you can't do, maybe you can do it if you use your chair to assist you. So you can try a calf raise. And then you can eliminate the oblique knee tuck if you want, or if you want, you can try, because it's going to be difficult to do that movement while still holding on to your chair for support if you bring opposite elbow to meet the knee, but you could try something like this, just doing like a standing knee crunch. And that's really kind of the standing ab exercise that I give you every day as an alternative if you're unable to get down onto the mat. So if you want, you could cheat a little today and combine your squats and your abs. You could call that your ab exercise for the day. If you're a super duper beginner, you can do a squat and then a calf raise, optional. And then you can let go with one hand, then lift one foot and bring the elbow down to meet the knee, the elbow on the same side, really feel that crunch in your obliques. You can count that as your ab exercise. And then when I'm down on the mat doing abs, you can either fast forward or rest and have some water or something. That's up to you, okay? Or you can do that and then also do the ab exercise I'm doing. That's your call, okay? So if you need to hold on to a chair for support, you can be here. You can try the calf raise if you want. And then if you want, you can add a little knee tuck, bringing the elbow on the same side down to touch the knee. And if you want, you can count that as your ab exercise for today. Or you can just count it as a little bonus, because I am not counting my oblique knee twist as an ab exercise. I'm just counting it as part of my squat variation. All right. Also remember, if you are a super duper ultra day one beginner and even that squat variation is too difficult for you, remember that you can also use your chair to assist you for the squats this way by basically just sitting down into your chair. But not really sitting into your chair, because I don't want you to just kind of like plop into the chair, but squatting into your chair, okay? So it's still a squat. You still want to make sure your shoulders are back and down, your chest is lifted high, tighten up the abs, push the booty back, keeping the chest lifted, right? Trying to touch the wall behind you with your booty, trying to touch the wall in front of you with your chest. Back is flat, weight is in the heels as you sink down into your squat. And do you see how slowly I am doing this? You don't have to go this slowly. The reason I'm doing that is to demonstrate how much under control the movement needs to be. Okay, if you're just letting gravity kind of allow you to plop into the chair, that's not an exercise. You're not going to get any stronger. The purpose of using the chair to assist you is to make the squat manageable for you, but it still has to be a squat. You still want to be working your quads as much as you can. The point is to get stronger so that eventually you can do an unassisted air squat. You're not going to get any stronger unless you really control the movement. Once your booty hits the chair, yeah, you can sit down into the chair. And then once you're ready to come up again, you're going to press your heels into the mat to stand, activating all of those muscles in your feet, through your legs, your quads especially, your glutes and your core, okay? So if you're at this level, then it's up to you if you want to try a calf raise or if you want to try some kind of knee tuck, okay? You know your body, you have to make the decision that's best for you, but if you are at this level where you're using a chair to assist you this way for your squats, I absolutely recommend that you just stay here. Don't add anything yet, okay? If you feel like you can and you want to, that's up to you, but if you're at this level, I think it's best to just work on your squats, work on building up enough strength so that eventually you can do an unassisted air squat, and then you can start thinking about adding things to it, okay? And if this is too difficult for you, again, you can have some other strong, sturdy, stable, elevated surface in front of you if you need to leverage your weight just a little bit to stand. Just make sure you're using your upper body as little as possible, but do whatever you need to do to get the squat done. So you could put this whole setup with your strong, sturdy chair on top of your mat, right in front of the arm of your couch, let's say, or your dining room table, and then or another strong, sturdy chair or bar stool that you can then use to assist you if you need assistance. So if you need to kind of leverage your weight a little bit to stand, okay? So, yeah, that's squats. Moving on to lunges. I'm actually using my chair for the lunges today. Now, for this exercise, the way I'm using my chair, it doesn't matter if it's strong or sturdy or stable because we're not putting any weight on it. I'm actually just using it as a target. So again, you could use the arm of your couch, you could use a plyo box or piano bench, okay, an ottoman, the arm of a park bench, okay, so any number of elevated surfaces will work. It just is serving as a target because we're going to be kicking our legs up and over the chair. Of course, you can do it with no target, but if you do the exercise with no target, as you fatigue, it's just going to be really easy to get lazy and not get your leg up and over your imaginary target. I like to have a physical obstacle here that I really need to clear so that I make sure I'm getting my leg up and over my target every single time, and each rep has integrity, okay? So anything will work for a target. If you don't have anything that's going to work for a target, or if you're worried about banging your leg on the target, you don't need to use one. You can just kick your leg over an imaginary obstacle, okay? Make the decision that's best for you. So I'm going to be swinging my leg up and over the chair. So I'm going to start by standing behind my chair. I'm going to pick up one foot and I'm first going to kick this foot across my body towards the wall on the opposite side. So the foot is coming across, bringing this leg across the other leg, and then from here, I'm kicking up and over my chair. Then I'm going to put this foot down. I'm going to pick up the other foot and I'm going to kick over the chair with the other leg, but in the same direction, okay? So with this foot, I went across my body first so that I was kicking over the chair in this direction. I'm going to kick the other leg over this chair in the same direction. So I'm not going across my body this way. I'm picking this foot up right where it is and kicking it up and over the chair, okay? So both legs are going over the chair in the same direction. So kick up and over, and now pick up the other foot, kick up and over the chair in the same direction. But instead of putting the foot down with that second kick, I'm going to allow my momentum to continue, and this foot is going to land behind me. So pick up this foot, kick across my body, up and over the chair, put the foot down. Pick up the other foot, kick this leg up and over the chair in the same direction that we just went, and I'm going to allow my momentum to continue, and I'm going to step this foot down behind me. And then from here, this is where the lunge comes in. I'm gonna bend my knees and sink down into my lunge, okay? Make sure in your lunge that your front knee is at more or less a 90-degree angle, meaning that the knee of this front leg is more over the heel of your front foot as opposed to being out over your toes like this. All right, remember with our squats and our lunges, shoulders are back and down, chest is up to tight, abs are tight, back is flat, weight is in the heels. So you always want your weight in the heel, not the toes. You want your knee to be over your heel, not over your toes. Okay, and also make sure you're controlling the movement as you sink down into that lunge, especially if you're going to tap this back knee to the ground so that you don't bang your knee into the ground because it hurts. You don't have to tap that back knee to the ground. Again, work to your own level. So if you need to shorten up your range of motion, that's fine. You can be here, okay? Either way, the movement should be under control. But if you are able to sink deep enough into the lunge so that your back knee actually touches the ground, that's fine. Just make sure you're controlling the movement. Don't bang your knee into the ground, all right? So let's put it all together. I'm standing behind my chair. Pick up one foot, kick across my body, up and over the chair. Pick up the other foot. I'm gonna kick my leg over the chair in the same direction and allow my momentum to carry this foot behind me. And then I'm gonna bend both knees and sink into my lunge. And now I'm going to press my front heel into the ground, push the ground away from me, and as I stand, I'm gonna pick up this back leg, and we're gonna do the same thing in the other direction. So I'm going to kick this leg across my body towards the wall on the other side, and then up and over the chair. Then I'm going to pick up the other foot, and I'm gonna kick this leg up and over the chair in the same direction. Allow my momentum to continue. Swing the foot around, it's gonna land behind me, and then I'm gonna bend both knees and sink into my lunge. That's our second rep. So each lunge counts as one rep. Now again, the back foot comes forward, up and over the chair. The other foot follows in the same direction. Swing the foot behind you, bend both knees, sink into your lunge. Back foot is gonna kick up and over the chair. Other leg follows in the same direction. Swing the leg behind you, bend both knees and lunge. All right, that is my lunge variation for today. Now, if it is too difficult doing the kicks, remember that any lunge variation is fine. So if all of this business of kicking up and over the chair is too much, remember that you can remove the physical obstacle and just use an imaginary obstacle. Okay, and you can use a shorter obstacle. So if you have something that's lower to the ground, like a milk crate or a cinder block even, just something really low to the ground, you can do the same thing, but just shorten up your range of motion, okay? So you're not swinging your leg up and over something that's really high, you're swinging your leg up and over something that's much closer to the ground. So you can either use a physical obstacle like a milk crate or something like that that's lower to the ground, or you can just imagine that your obstacle is closer to the ground, okay? So you can do the same exercise, but just shorten up your range of motion. You can also shorten up your range of motion on the lunge. So as you swing this leg behind you to sink into that lunge, if you can't swing it really far behind you, be here, okay? Shorten up your range of motion. So you can kick up and over your low imaginary obstacle, pick up the other foot, kick up and over in the same direction, swing that foot behind you, but just not as far, and you can sink into your lunge, not as far, okay? So if you need to hold on to something for support, that might get a little tricky because if you're doing the leg swings, it might be difficult to not kick whatever you're using for support. So if you need to hold on to something for support, I'm gonna recommend that you eliminate the leg swings and just work on your lunges, okay? You can just do reverse lunges. So you can grab your strong, sturdy chair, not a flimsy plastic folding chair. You can place it on top of an exercise mat or yoga mat so that it stays put. You can hold on to it with one hand for support, and then you can just do reverse lunges, okay? Work to your own level. So if you can't step back really far, then you can step here. And if you can't lunge really deep, then you can lunge here, okay? But those are your modifications for beginners. So you can lower your target, meaning that you're shortening up your range of motion on the kicks. You can shorten up your range of motion on the step back, and you can shorten up your range of motion on the lunge itself by not lunging as low, okay? If that's not going to work for you, you can eliminate the leg swing and just work on your lunges. And if you need to hold on to something for support, hold on to something for support. And again, if you need to shorten up your range of motion, even holding on to something for support, that's fine. Shorten up your range of motion on the step back, shorten up your range of motion on the lunge. All right, but I am doing my kick over into lunge. That's my lunge variation. We're alternating sides with each rep, so that's our S and our L. Let's move on to A for abs. I'm going to be down on the mat for abs today, but if you are unable to get down onto the mat, we've got our chair here anyway, so you can just use your strong, sturdy chair placed on top of your exercise mat or your yoga mat. so that it can't slide from underneath you. This is the same standing ab exercise that I've been showing you since day one. So you're going to hold on to your strong, sturdy, stable chair for support. You're going to take the leg that's farthest from the chair and extend it out to the side. Place your toes on the ground. You're going to take your free hand and place it behind your head. So bend your elbow and place your hand behind your neck or your head. Now you're going to lift this leg and bend the knee. And as you do that, you are going to crunch and bring your elbow towards your knee. If you can touch your knee with your elbow, that's what you're going for. But again, remember to work to your own level. So if you're here, you're here. If you can't quite make them touch, then don't push it. Please remember never to push your body into doing something it is not ready to do, but that's what you're working towards. I just want to feel that crunch in your obliques. Okay, so lift the leg, bend the knee, and crunch. Knee to elbow, and then reverse the movement. Place the foot back down, and bring your torso back upright, okay? So, that's your standing ab variation if you cannot get down onto the mat. But if you can get down onto the mat, I am doing thriller abs. We're going to be all the way down on the mat, so come down onto the mat on your side. You're going to place your bottom forearm on the mat for support. So put your elbow down, your entire forearm and your palm is on the mat for support. Now you're going to take this bottom leg and extend it so that it's straight like this. Take your top leg, bend the knee, and place the foot flat on the mat. And this is our starting position. So this is why I call these thriller abs, because when I'm in this starting pose right here, I think I look like Michael Jackson on the cover of the Thriller album. That's always what it reminds me of. So that's why I call these thriller abs. So now you're going to take your top arm and extend it overhead like this. And then from here, all you're going to do is lift this front leg straight up. And as you do that, you're going to bring your hand towards the toes and tap the toes with your opposite hand and reverse the movement. That's it. That's the whole exercise. Super simple. So make sure that you're keeping this bottom leg, this front leg, as straight as you possibly can. All right, you really want that knee to be straight. So if you imagine you're trying to touch the wall over there with your toes, you want to keep that extension. It's like you're trying to make your leg longer, okay? And then you're going to do your best to maintain that as you lift the leg. So try to keep that extension in your leg. If you can't do that, it is absolutely fine to have a soft bend in your knee, and you can even bring elbow to knee instead of touching your toes with your hands, okay? That's your beginner modification. If your backs of your legs are super tight and you can't keep the legs straight, you can bend the knee. And if you can't reach all the way up and touch your toes, you can bend your elbow and bring elbow to knee. That's absolutely fine, okay? But if you can, extend that bottom leg all the way so that you're trying to touch the wall over there with your toes, and then keep that extension in your leg as you lift the leg and reach with your top hand to tap the toes. Make sure you're controlling the movement on the way down. Don't just let the leg fall down. Make sure you're lowering the leg with control. But that's it, that's the exercise. 1, 2, 3, just like that. All right, that's SLA. Last is P for push-ups. So this is a very simple push-up variation that I'm doing today. All I'm doing is adding a couple of shoulder taps after the push-up. So the push-up itself is just going to be a regular standard push-up. So let's begin by going over your proper form for your push-ups. So I'm going to give you bullet points again. The bullet points are, your head should be in line with your spine. So remember, head in line with the spine. That's your first bullet point. Picture standing with your back up against the wall and just lightly pressing the back of your head into the wall. That's where your head should be, straight up and down in line with your spine. And once you have found that position and your head is in line with your spine, make sure it doesn't move. It's very common that people will kind of bob their head up and down as they're doing the push-ups. So you want your head in line with your spine and you want your head to stay still, okay? So that's your first bullet point, head in line with the spine. The second bullet point is shoulders away from the ears. It is very, very common that a lot of people will kind of sink into their shoulders like this. Do you see how my shoulders are kind of hunched up by my ears? So to fix this, we want to first of all spread out all 10 fingers so that you're distributing your weight as evenly as possible. And then what you want to do is visualize pushing the ground away from you so that you're up as high as you can get in your plank pose. Did you see what happened to my shoulders? So I was here, kind of sinking into my shoulders, shoulders hunched up by the ears. But when I press the ground away from me, now do you see how my shoulders are away from my ears and I'm nice and high in this plank position? And that's what we want, okay? So head in line with the spine, shoulders away from the ears. The third bullet point is flat back. Just like with our squats and with our lunges, you always want your back flat for your push-ups. So what I mean by that is that the tendency for a lot of people is to let their hips or their belly kind of droop down towards the mat like this. Do you see how that is causing an arch in my back? We don't want an arched back. We want a flat back. So how do we fix it? Tighten up your abs. Use your ab muscles to lift your hips up high and keep them high. When I say keep them high, I mean that once you have found this plank position, the goal is that nothing moves. Your body is in one straight line from your heels to your shoulders and nothing moves. The temptation is that as you lower your chest towards the mat, if you lack the upper body strength and the core strength to get your chest all the way down to the mat, what a lot of people are going to want to do is compensate for the fact that they're not getting their chest all the way down by lowering their hips or their belly down to the ground. But that's causing my back to arch. Remember, you want to lift your hips high and keep them high. So if you cannot get your chest all the way down to the mat, your hips need to stay lifted high, so you can't compensate by lowering your hips or your belly to the mat like that. All right? And again, you want to make sure your head is staying still. Once your head is in line with your spine, it doesn't move. Because the other really common mistake that people make, if they cannot get their chest all the way down to the mat, is they'll lower their forehead down to the mat. Your forehead should never touch the mat, okay? Your head is in line with your spine and your head stays still. Okay, your shoulders are away from your ears and your hips are lifted nice and high. Your back is flat. So you want to maintain that straight line from your heels to your shoulders the entire time. Think of your body as a plank of wood, like a 2x4, okay? Once you've found that perfect plank position, nothing moves. This is just a moving plank. You're lowering your chest down to the mat and then pushing yourself back up without breaking that straight line from your heels to your shoulders. This is where I make that distinction between goal and objective. Okay, so you're in your plank position, you're going to bend your elbows and lower your chest as close to the mat as you can. Your goal is to actually touch the mat with your chest. But your objective, which is far more important, is to maintain that straight line from your heels to your shoulders. So if the only way you can touch the mat with your chest is by breaking that line by lowering your hips or your belly down to the mat, causing an arch in your back, then don't touch the mat with your chest. You may not reach that goal today. You may not reach it by the end of the challenge. You may not reach it until the end of the summer or next year, but that's what you're working towards. If you're not there yet, if you can't quite get your chest all the way down to the mat yet, that's fine. You have two options. Option number one is to put your knees down for the push-up. And option number two is to simply shorten up your range of motion, okay? So if you can't get your chest all the way down to the mat without breaking that straight line from your heels to your shoulders, that's fine. As soon as you've gotten your chest as low to the mat as you can, push the ground away from you and come back up, return to your starting position. Okay, the important thing is that you're not compensating by lowering your hips or your belly to the mat, and you're not lowering your forehead to the mat, okay? If you are doing knee push-ups, it's the exact same exercise. Literally, the only difference is that your knees are on the mat. So, place your hands directly underneath your shoulders, come up into your plank position, and now with your knees right where they are, just place them on the mat, and that's it. This is your starting position for your push-up. Your head is in line with your spine, so you're not allowing your head to drop like this. You're not overcorrecting by hyperextending your neck and jutting your chin out. Just have your head nice and in a neutral position. It's in line with your spine and it's gonna stay still. You're not gonna bob it up and down, okay? Your shoulders are away from your ears. You're not sinking into your shoulders. You're spreading out those fingers, pressing the mat away from you, pushing yourself up as high as you can. Your abs are super strong and tight and engaged. Your hips are lifted nice and high so that your back is flat. You are not allowing your hips or your belly to droop towards the mat, causing an arch in your back. Lift the hips high, keep them high. And then from here, you're going to bend your elbows and lower your chest as close to the mat as you can without breaking that straight line from your knees to your shoulders. Then push yourself back up. And again, if you cannot get your chest all the way down to the mat, do not compensate by lowering your hips or your belly down to the mat. Do not try to trick yourself into thinking that you're getting all the way down by lowering your forehead down to the mat. Instead, what you're going to do is just shorten up your range of motion. So if you can only get your chest this close to the mat without breaking that straight line from your knees to your shoulders, then you're gonna stop here and you're gonna press the mat away from you and push yourself back up. So make sure you are minding your form on the push-up. Remember, it's always easier to elevate your hands. So if you want, you can try doing your knee push-ups with your hands on a strong, sturdy, stable chair. So just remember that the farther away from the chair that you place your knees, the more challenging the push-up will be. But it's the same idea. You're gonna hold onto the chair. Your body's in one straight line from your knees to your shoulders. You're gonna bend your elbows. Bring your chest as close to the chair as you can, and then push yourself back up without ever breaking that straight line from your knees to your shoulders. If that is too difficult, just remember that the closer to the chair you place your knees, the less challenging the push-up will be because your weight is leveraged differently. So if you can't do the push-up with your knees far away from the chair, you may be able to do this push-up variation with your knees a bit closer to the chair. All right, still the same exercise. So body's in one straight line from your knees to your shoulders. You're going to bend your elbows and get your chest as close to the chair as you can, and then push yourself back up. The point is that your back is flat, your head is in line with your spine, your shoulders are away from your ears, okay? So you're keeping your body in one straight line from your knees to your shoulders. Now I will say that although the push-up itself is much easier with your knees close to the chair, it is a lot more taxing for your knees themselves. So if that is the case for you, let's say you have enough upper body strength and enough core strength to do this push-up variation, but the reason you can't do it is because it hurts your knees. It might be as simple of a solution as just doubling up your mat a couple of times, or maybe grabbing a towel, a folded up towel, or a seat cushion. Like if you have patio furniture, or I have seat cushions on my dining room chairs. If you have seat cushions that you can use, or throw pillow or something like that that you can put under your knees. They also sell those little pads that for you to kneel on, like I think they're for gardening, right? But they're like little pads that you can kneel on. They sell them at like Dollar Tree. They're super cheap. So if there's anything that you own or that you can purchase really cheaply that will help you to just provide a little bit more protection for your knees and make this push-up variation more comfortable, that might be an option. But again, if you can't be on your knees, if you can't get down onto the mat at all, remember that you can also do push-ups from standing. So again, we're using our imaginations and we're pretending that this is a really strong, sturdy chair, okay? It's not, but we're pretending it is, just so that I can demonstrate. So you can hold onto your strong, sturdy, stable, elevated surface like a chair, or the arm of your couch, or your dining room table, or your kitchen counter, okay? And you can do the push-up from a standing position. So hands on your elevated surface, and then again, same thing, head in line with the spine, shoulders away from the ears, abs tight, back flat. And then your body is a moving plank of wood. One straight line from your heels to your shoulders. Bend the elbows, lower your chest as close to the chair as you can, and then push yourself back up. The higher your elevated surface, the easier the push-up will be. So if you are strong enough to do your push-ups from this position, you might want to put your hands on the seat of your chair and do your push-ups like this, okay? If that's too difficult, you can do them from something higher, like the back of your chair or your dining room table or your kitchen counter. And if that's too difficult, you can do your push-ups with your hands on the wall. Okay, so that you're standing almost in an upright position. That's still a push-up. If you need to see that push-up variation, please let me know. But you can absolutely do wall push-ups. And if you're there, then forget about the shoulder tap. I'm gonna be adding some shoulder taps just to work on your wall push-ups, okay? But remember, any push-up variation you want to do is fine as long as you're minding your form. So once more, bullet points for your push-ups. Head in line with the spine. And make sure it stays still. Don't bob your head up and down. Bullet point number 2, shoulders away from the ears, so don't hunch into your shoulders. Press the ground away from you. Push yourself up nice and high in that plank. And bullet point number 3, flat back. So make sure your abs are super tight. Make sure you're using your ab muscles to lift your hips high and then keep them high so that your back stays flat. Never at any point are you allowing your back to arch because your hips or your belly are drooping down towards the mat. Okay, so as long as you are minding your form and checking off all 3 of those bullet points, then it doesn't matter if you have your knees on the ground or if you do the push-ups from your toes. It doesn't matter if your hands are elevated. It doesn't matter if you're standing or if you're down on the mat, okay? Just mind your form, and any push-up variation you want to do is fine. So for my push-up variation, I'm doing shoulder tap push-ups. Super simple variation. The push-up itself is just a standard push-up. And then after I complete my push-up, I'm just going to pick up one hand and tap the shoulder on the opposite side, place the hand back down, and then I'm going to repeat that on the other side. So pick up the other hand, tap the shoulder on the opposite side, place the hand down. That's it, okay? So it's gonna be push-up, shoulder tap, that's 1 rep. Push-up, shoulder tap, that's 2. So the main thing with the shoulder tap is that you want to keep your body as still as possible. So the temptation is going to be doing something like this. Kind of swaying side to side and maybe even kind of twisting. I'm exaggerating it so you can understand what I'm talking about, but maybe even kind of twisting to the side so that I'm kind of facing this way. You want to try to avoid that. So you want to do your best to, again, keep your body in one straight line from your heels to your shoulders and not move. So that your shoulder tap, instead of this, is this. And instead of this, is this. And from the knees, same thing, okay? So, knee push up, shoulder tap, shoulder tap. It's a little bit more challenging to keep your body perfectly still for the shoulder taps if you're doing knee push-ups. And the reason for that is because when I'm doing push-ups with my toes, my weight is more evenly distributed. As I pick up one hand and I'm balancing on one hand, I have my feet a bit wider apart, so it helps me to remain stable even if when I pick up that hand. When you do knee push-ups, your knees are usually close together. When I do knee push-ups, I cross my ankles and my knees are close together. So when you pick up one hand, you don't have that kind of tripod action. You don't have that base of support down here because your knees are close together. So inevitably, you are going to kind of tilt this way a little bit. Means that you're going to kind of tilt into this arm a little bit because you have to. The point is just to try to minimize that as much as you can, but don't beat yourself up if you're not staying perfectly still. If you're doing knee push-ups, it's kind of impossible. So you're going to pick up one hand and tap the shoulder, but you're going to have to lean your weight into this arm a lot more because your knees are close together and you don't have this base of support down here, okay? So just do your best to move as little as possible when you do those shoulder taps, but you will feel yourself kind of shift a little towards one side and towards the other if you're doing knee push-ups because you just have to, okay? But that's my push-up variation. So one more time. Push up, shoulder tap, that's 1. Push up, tap the shoulder, that's 2. And that's it, that's all 4 exercises. So now here's the format. It's very simple. We're going in order. We're spelling the word slap. So our circuit is first squats, then lunges, then abs, then push-ups. We're doing 20 reps of everything, and then we're just going to repeat the circuit twice, and that is how we are completing our 40 reps of squats, 40 lunges, 40 reps of abs, and 40 push-ups. So with the squats, I'm doing my squat jump plus an oblique knee twist. I'm alternating sides with my oblique knee twist for each rep. For my lunges, we're alternating sides for each rep, but you don't need to think about that because it's going to kind of happen organically if you're doing those kickovers. You'd have to try to do it incorrectly. So we will be alternating sides for the lunges, but you really don't need to think of it in those terms. There's nothing to like keep track of as far as that goes. Now for abs, I'm doing thriller abs. So I'm going to stay on one side for all 20 reps. That means that the second time through the circuit, I'm going to have to make sure I switch sides so that I end up working both sides evenly. Same thing if you're doing your standing ab exercise, okay? You're gonna stay on one side for the first 20 reps. So the first time through the circuit, you'll work one side, and then the second time through the circuit, you'll work the other side. So make sure you keep track of which side you're working the first time through the circuit so that you make sure you switch for the second time through the circuit. And then 20 push-ups. So any push-up variation you want to do is fine. I'm doing those shoulder tap push-ups. There's 2 shoulder taps with each rep. So each rep is exactly the same. We don't need to keep track of anything. We don't need to alternate sides, and we don't need to remember which side we worked the first time so we can switch the second time. Super easy, okay? So I think that's all pretty clear. That's a very simple format, but remember that I always take the time to type out the instructions in the description box down below the video, and I'm going to do the workout right along with you. So watch me do it. Read the instructions, but then of course, as always, if anything is unclear with the format and how everything fits together, if you have questions about any of the exercises that we are doing today, if you have any doubt about how to do the exercises with the correct form, or if you need any further help with beginner modifications beyond what I have already provided, I'm right here to help, so please just ask. It's really important that you understand the movement. You have to understand what it is that you're asking your body to do. So make sure you understand how to do the exercises with the proper form before you begin the workout, so that you reduce your risk of injury and just so that you make sure you're getting the maximum benefit out of each exercise. And you guys know it is also incredibly important to me that all of my workouts are always accessible to anyone and everyone who wants to do them with me, and especially so for this challenge this year. So I'm always here to help facilitate that. Don't hesitate to reach out if you have questions or if you need help. And also make sure, please, that if you are working out along with the video especially, that you're minding your form and that you're going at your own pace. So make sure that you're not sacrificing your form for speed. And what I mean by that is, if you're in decent shape, you'll probably be faster than I am, and that's great. Be faster than I am, as long as you are not sacrificing your form to get there. If you find that you are racing through the exercises just because you want to go fast for the sake of going fast so that you can say you got a great score, it's really important to make sure that you're not sacrificing your form for speed, okay? If you find you're racing through and your form is getting sloppy, forget about your time goals, forget about trying to finish fast, slow down and mind your form, okay? It's really important that you understand how to do the exercises correctly, but it's equally as important that you apply that knowledge during the workout. So if you find that your form is getting sloppy, it means you need to slow down. First and foremost is make sure that you are doing the exercises with the correct form. So if you're slower than I am, either because you're just working at a slower pace than I am, or because you find that you need to pause and rest, fine, pause the video, rest. When you're ready, come back, okay? I'll be here, it's okay, just go at your own pace. I do want you to challenge yourself to keep the rest breaks as short as you can, but they should be as long as you need. So only resume the workout when you feel that you have regained enough strength and you have enough stamina to continue with good form, okay? But don't worry if you're going slow. That's fine. If you're out here doing the work and getting the reps done. It doesn't matter how long it takes. What matters is that you're doing the reps correctly, okay? So go at your own pace, mind your form, do not sacrifice your form for speed. And again, just make sure you're working to your own level, okay? So please be safe, be smart, listen to your body. Do not push your body into doing anything that it is not ready to do. Hopefully I have covered everything. If you're ready to go ahead and do this workout, grab an exercise mat or a yoga mat if you have one. If you don't have a mat, a towel may suffice. If you're working out on a carpeted floor or on grass, you may not need anything. But if you are going to be doing thriller abs with me, and especially if you're going to be doing knee push-ups, you're going to be much more comfortable with something soft beneath you. So definitely grab an exercise mat or a yoga mat if you have one. If you need a little extra protection for your knees, grab a towel, a folded up towel or a throw pillow or a seat cushion or something like that. Grab a chair or some other sort of elevated surface to use as a target for our lunges, if you're using a target. Remember, if you don't want to use a target, you can just imagine a target. But I think it's a good idea to have a physical obstacle that you need to clear. So grab a chair or a bar stool or an ottoman, piano bench, the arm of your couch, something like that. Now, if you need a chair for assistance for your squats or your lunges, or if you're doing push-ups on the chair, for example, make sure that your chair or your bar stool or whatever elevated surface you're using is strong enough to support your body weight, sturdy enough so that it will not collapse or break or fold up when you put weight on it, and stable so that it cannot slide from underneath you. And then pause the video. Go get dressed. Meet me right back here. We are going to do a quick 5-minute warm up and then we'll get our reps done together. All right, so as soon as you're ready, let's get started with our 5-minute warm up. You're going to begin by just allowing your head to fall towards one shoulder, and then you're going to place your hand on top of your head and just rest it there. You're not actively pulling your ear towards your shoulder. You're just resting your hand on your head and allowing gravity to do the work of gently stretching the other side of your neck. And now we're gonna switch sides. So let go with your hand. You're going to allow your head to fall towards the opposite shoulder. Place your hand on your head and just rest it there. Let gravity do all of the work, and make sure your shoulders are relaxed as well. Shoulders away from the ears, okay? So if your shoulder's creeping up, push it down. Next, we're gonna do some head rolls. So you're going to let go with your hand and start by just allowing your chin to fall to your chest, and then continue letting your head roll to the other shoulder and back. Each time you roll your head from side to side, start feeling your head getting heavier and heavier. Your arms are nice and loose like a rag doll, and you're increasing your range of motion with each roll. Now we're gonna roll the shoulders back, so make big circles with your shoulders. Really exaggerate that movement. Make your circles as big as you can. Next, we're going to do arm circles, but we're going to start small. So you're going to extend your arms out to the side and start by making small circles. But then gradually, as the interval progresses, start making your circles a little bigger, until finally you're exploring your full range of motion, making your circles as big as you possibly can. Next, you're gonna step your feet out wider than shoulder width apart, bend the knees, kind of sweep your hands down in front of you, and then reach up towards the ceiling as you straighten your legs. And again, with each time you bend your knees, you want to start increasing your range of motion, sinking a little deeper with each squat. Now keep your feet planted where they are. We're going to lunge side to side nice and easy, and then we're going to add the arms. So you're reaching across your body with each lunge, like you're trying to throw your arm across the room. Next, we're going to step our feet together. So bring your feet into the middle and march. Nice and easy. Start with the knees low, but then start driving your knees up a little higher and a little higher towards your chest, until finally you're driving your knees up as high towards your chest as you can. Feel a nice little stretch in your glutes. And now we're going to do the same thing with a jog. Nice light jog. So starting with the knees low, and then gradually, as the interval progresses, And start driving your knees up higher and higher towards your chest until you're driving your knees up as high as you can. Next is booty kicks. So it's still a nice light jog, but with each step, you're bringing your foot up behind you, trying to kick yourself in the booty with your heel. Now for this next one, you may need to hold onto a chair or the wall or something for support. If not, you can just have your hands on your hips. You're gonna transfer your weight into one foot, pick up the other foot, and just swing the leg front and back. Nice and loose and easy. You're gonna do the same thing on the other leg. So now you're gonna put this foot down, transfer your weight, pick up the opposite foot, and swing the leg in front of you and behind you. You can start low, and then gradually start increasing your range of motion. Now we're going to extend this foot out in front and place the toes on the floor or the ground in front of you. And then you're gonna draw a little semicircle, bringing the foot around and behind you. And each time you draw your semicircle, you're gonna lift that leg higher and higher until finally you can drive the knee up in front of you and kind of guide the knee around behind you with your hand. Other leg. So extend the leg out in front of you, draw a semicircle, going around and behind you. Lift the leg higher and higher, and then finally drive the knee up in front of you and guide it around with your hand as you make that semicircle. Finally is our hamstring stretch. So if you want to grab your chair, or you can grab onto the wall, any kind of elevated surface, it just makes getting into this stretch a little bit easier, and it helps you to keep your back nice and flat, which is going to intensify the stretch. It's okay if you allow your back to round during that hamstring stretch. It's not going to hurt you, but if you can keep your back flat, you're really going to see that stretch in your hamstrings. You're going to isolate your hamstrings, and it's going to help you to really intensify that stretch. So if you use a stool or a chair or something to lean on, just makes it a little bit easier, a little bit more comfortable to get into that stretch while keeping your back flat. And since we're only in that stretch for such a short period of time, really want to maximize the effectiveness. So do your best to keep your back flat during that hamstring stretch, but that's it. That's our 5-minute warm up. All right, so now our muscles are nice and warm. Let's go ahead and get these reps done. We are starting with our squat variation. I am doing a squat jump plus an oblique knee twist, alternating sides for my oblique knee twist with each rep, and we're doing 20 reps, so do your best. As soon as you're ready, here we go. I am starting my timer in 3, 2, 1, and go. So, squat, jump, oblique knee twist. Other side, squat, jump, lift the knee, and twist your body thoracically, bringing knee to elbow. That's 4. We're going to 20, so do your best. Next is lunges. So I'm doing these over the chair kicks into a reverse lunge. So chair is here as a target. Kick the leg up and over the chair, other leg follows, reverse lunge. That's 1 rep. Alternating sides. So now kick in the opposite direction. Up and over the chair, up and over the chair. Your momentum carries that leg behind you. Sink into your lunge. That's 2. I'm gonna zip it because I'm already out of breath. I have to do 18 more of these, so do your best. That's 20. Moving on to abs. I'm doing thriller abs. Staying on the same side for all 20 reps. So down here in your thriller pose, lift the leg and tap the toes. And shoulder tap push-ups, 20 reps. So I'm definitely getting stronger throughout the course of this challenge. I'm a lot stronger than I was in day 1, but I don't think I have enough strength to do all 20 reps without pausing to rest. So just do your best. Pause and rest if you need to. But whatever push-up variation you're doing, we're doing 20 reps before we move on to round 2, okay? So, push up, shoulder tap, shoulder tap. I did it! I'm getting stronger than I realized. That was a pleasant surprise. I was able to complete all 20 reps without stopping. We're 6 minutes in, so let's see if we can maintain more or less that pace, that same pace for round 2. Try to see if we can finish in under 13 minutes. All right, do your best. If you need to pause and rest before beginning round 2, pause the video, come back when you're ready. I'm gonna start round 2 with another 20 squats. Super tough, but they're done. As soon as you're ready, 20 lunges. Do your best. That's 20. Further abs. Make sure you're working the opposite side. So bottom leg extends straight, all the way straight as you can make it. Bend the back knee, foot flat on the mat. Extend the arm up overhead, lift the leg, tap the toes, and lower with control. 20 reps, your best. 5 left. Just taking a few seconds to breathe. 16. 17. 18. 19. Last one. 20. That's round 2. We made it. Now get up. Just pace around with me, okay? I'm gonna do a little cool down. It doesn't have to be anything super structured. The point is just to get up and move, keep the circulation going while you allow your heart rate to come down and while you allow your breathing to normalize. So just pacing is good enough. Pace around, shake out the arms, shake out the legs. That push-up variation was especially taxing for the shoulders. So let's go ahead and do a quick shoulder stretch by just bringing one arm across your body and using your opposite arm to pull the arm that's stretching in close to your chest. Make sure the arm that's stretching is completely relaxed. Make sure the shoulder is completely relaxed. Both of your shoulders should be relaxed down away from your ears. If your shoulder's up here, you're not going to get the benefit of this stretch. So make sure your shoulder's nice and relaxed. Shake it out. Other side. So reach the other arm across your body and then use the opposite arm to pull it in towards your chest. Keep kind of pacing around or shaking out the legs as you're doing this. I usually just kind of shift my weight from side to side as long as you're moving. Shoulders are relaxed, allowing this shoulder to really stretch. Shake it out. Let's get the triceps. So you're gonna bend one elbow, place the opposite hand on your elbow, and just gently pull your elbow towards the opposite shoulder, gently. Make sure that your free hand, the hand that's in the stretching arm, is relaxed and pointing straight down towards the ground. So you don't want this hand up here somewhere. You want the arm relaxed and you want your hand pointing straight down towards the ground. Shake it out. And let's get the tricep on the other side. So bend the opposite elbow. Place your hand on the elbow and just gently pull your elbow towards the opposite shoulder, making sure that your free hand is relaxed and pointing straight down towards the ground. And shake it out. Swing the arms. Now we'll just do a quick quad stretch. So you're gonna pick up one foot. If you have trouble balancing, you can grab your chair or you can hold onto the wall for support. You're gonna bring your foot behind you, and then you're gonna reach both hands back, grab the top of your foot and kind of press your heel into your booty cheek. Even if your balance is normally pretty good, when you're fatigued, it's going to get more difficult to balance. So if you're falling out of this and having trouble with your balance, don't worry, it's probably just because you're fatigued after the workout. Just hold on to something for support, it's fine. And remember to make sure that you're tilting your pelvis forward during this quad stretch. So shake it out, let's switch sides. Pick up the opposite foot. Bring the foot behind you, reach around, grab the top of your foot with both hands and gently press your heel into your booty cheek. And as you're doing that, make sure you're tilting your pelvis forward, meaning that you're kind of tucking your booty underneath you. Imagine trying to touch your spine with your belly button. So if you have this curve in your low back, there's nothing wrong with that. Your spine is curved here, but if you try to get rid of that by tilting your pelvis this way and really pushing, like trying to touch your spine with your belly button, you're going to immediately feel that stretch intensifying your quad. So make sure while you're doing this, you're still pressing your heel into your booty cheek. So that's it, that's our little cool down. Shake it out a little more, shake out the arms, shake out the legs. If you feel that your breathing has not yet normalized and your heart rate is still elevated, you can take a few more minutes to cool down. Just continue pacing around, moving. You can do a little more light stretching. And when you're ready, let's go ahead and do our bonus burpee together. No workout of mine is ever complete until we have done our bonus burpee. So we have just one rep left to go. Now, even if you're a beginner, that doesn't mean you're excused from doing the bonus burpee. Everyone must do a bonus burpee. It is mandatory that you do a bonus burpee after each and every one of these workouts. You do not have to include a push-up with your bonus burpee if you don't want to. I'm sorry about the weed whacking. I am going to include a push-up because I always do, but you can eliminate the push-up if you want. And really, you can do any burpee variation you want. There are a million different burpee variations. Many of them contain a push-up, and many of them do not. So any burpee variation you want to do with or without a push-up is fine, but you must do a bonus burpee. So if you're a beginner, I will walk you through how to do a beginner bonus burpee. Try to shout over the weed whacking and the leaf blowing. So you're going to start by standing in the middle of your mat. You're going to bend down and place your hands on the mat in front of you, and then you're going to step your feet back one at a time so that you're in a plank position. Now knees down for the push-up if you're including a push-up. If not, you can eliminate it. Step the feet back in and stand. Come up onto your toes if you can, and if you want, you can add a little jump. If you are not a beginner and you would like to try to do the push-up from your toes, let's go ahead and just do one final bonus burpee together, and then the workout will be officially complete. So as soon as you're ready, here we go. Final rep of the day. All right, with that, the workout is now officially complete. That ended up taking me a total of 12 minutes and 31 seconds. So that means that we actually maintained a pretty steady pace for that second round. I was pushing really hard today, so I'm happy with that. And most importantly, we got the reps done. That's what matters. So now it's really important that you're taking a good 15 or 20 minutes at least to stretch. If you take the time to stretch right now after the workout, this is going to be the most efficient and the most effective time to get your stretching done because your muscles are nice and warm already. If you do not have time to stretch right now, that's fine. You can stretch later in the day. Just remember that if you put off your stretching until later in the day, your muscles will have gotten cold again. So you are going to have to warm them back up before you begin stretching. The same way we warm up our muscles before we begin the workout, it's very important that you make sure to take time to warm up your muscles before you jump into your stretching routine so that your muscles are more pliable and you're less likely to overstretch or pull something or strain a muscle. One of the main reasons that we make sure to stretch every day is to reduce our risk of injury. So the last thing you want to do is injure yourself during your stretching routine. So if you can stretch right now, you don't have to warm up your muscles because they're already nice and warm from the workout. But if you stretch later in the day, remember to take a few minutes to warm your muscles up before you jump into the stretching routine. But it's fine, at any time during the day you can get your stretching done is great. Just make sure you don't skip your stretching. It's really important that you get it done at some point during the day because it is going to help alleviate any muscle soreness that you might be experiencing. It's also going to help to reduce your risk of injury moving forward, and it's going to improve your flexibility and your mobility, which is important in and of itself. So please don't skip your stretching. If you're a beginner and you don't know how to stretch and you need a stretching routine, I have a stretching routine that I do every single day that is geared towards beginners and inflexible people. If you'd like the link, please just ask. I'm happy to share it with you, but you can really just go on YouTube and search for beginner stretching routine, or if your muscles are really tight and you need a stretching routine that's geared towards inflexible people, do a search for stretching routine for inflexible people. There's going to be tons of great options. Just pick whatever looks good to you and do it. It doesn't matter what you do for your stretching as long as you get it done. Before I do my stretching, I am going to add on 20 minutes of moderate paced cardio with my jump rope. That's why I'm holding Rebecca. Rebecca is my adorable black jump rope with these cute little white skulls on the handles. And if you would like to know where I got Rebecca, there is a link and a coupon code in the description box down below the video. So click on the link and use coupon code Rebecca to save an additional 10% on your jump rope. The additional cardio is not mandatory. It is not officially part of the challenge. I'm sharing it because that's how I do this challenge. That's how I do this challenge every year. I add on 20 to 30 minutes of moderate paced cardio after each one of these workouts because I am trying to get myself back in shape. I need to lose weight. I need to improve my stamina, and I want to strengthen my heart and my lungs. So the additional cardio goes a long way towards helping me to accelerate that process. It also enables me to start seeing results faster, which is really encouraging, and that makes it easier for me to find the motivation to keep going when I can see that what I'm doing is working. I like the changes that I'm seeing in my body. So it's not mandatory. You don't have to do any additional cardio at all if you don't want to. I just want to be transparent with you. I want to be upfront about the fact that I'm doing more than just these 160 reps every day. This is all I'm doing for strength training. I am relying solely on these 40 squats, 40 lunges, 40 reps of abs, and 40 push-ups a day for my strength training. But I'm adding 20 to 30 minutes of cardio after each workout. So, I know we're doing 6 workouts a week. We're working out every Monday through Saturday. So that means I'm doing 6 cardio sessions a week, and it's a lot. And I know that you might not physically be able to do 6 cardio sessions a week, or maybe you just don't have the time, and I get that. But if you can find a way to squeeze in at least 2 or 3 cardio sessions a week, I do strongly recommend that you consider doing that. It doesn't have to be jump rope. Any kind of moderate paced cardio you want to do is fine. So you can go for a jog or just a brisk walk, or a bike ride if you have a bike. If you have something like an exercise bike or a treadmill or an elliptical, you can hop on one of those for 30 minutes. If you have a heavy bag, you can work on your heavy bag. If you have access to the field at your local high school, you could jog around the track, or you could do up and down the bleachers. You could take a hike or go for a swim. It doesn't matter, okay? And it doesn't have to be more than 20 or 30 minutes. It can be more if you want. But if you can find time at least 2 or 3 days a week to squeeze in a cardio session, I just think that it is going to help you to start seeing results faster. And whatever your goals are for this challenge, if you're trying to get in weight or trying to get in shape, if you're trying to lose weight, it is going to help accelerate that process for you. And I know you'll be a lot happier with your results at the end of the challenge. So again, the additional cardio is not mandatory. It's not required in any way, shape, or form. You don't have to do a single minute of additional cardio throughout the entire course of this challenge if you don't want to. But I'm doing it, so I wanted to be upfront. I wanted to share that with you, and I wanted to let you know that every year when I do the challenge, this is how I do it. So it's not required. You don't have to do it, but it is strongly recommended. If you can't do it every day, at least 2 or 3 days a week. If you can squeeze in a 20 or 30 minute cardio session, any kind of moderate paced cardio you want to do is fine. I just think that you're going to start seeing results faster. You're going to be happier with your results at the end of the challenge. So it is not required, but it is strongly recommended. But whether or not you are doing cardio today, our 161 reps are complete. We have done our 40 squats, 40 lunges, 40 reps of abs, 40 push-ups, and 1 bonus burpee. So that is officially a wrap on day 30, which means we have only 10 days left to go of the challenge. We are 3/4 of the way through this challenge, which is just amazing. Less than 2 weeks left. And this is the most people I have ever had join me for the challenge. And you guys are all doing an incredible job. Hang in there with me. This is the home stretch, the final 10 days. You can absolutely do this. We have so got this. So if you did this workout with me today, thank you so much. Please let me know what you thought of it and how you did. Thank you to everyone who has been working out with me lately. And even if you are not doing the workouts with me, thank you for watching the videos. Thank you for liking and sharing the videos. Thank you so much for all of your wonderful and supportive and engaging comments. It truly does mean the world to me. Thank you to everyone who's doing the challenge with me. If you're not doing the challenge, please remember that it is not too late to join. It is never too late to join. You can start today. You can start tomorrow with day 31 and just do the final 10 days of the challenge. That would be amazing. Or you can go back to the beginning and start on day 1. That is recommended. Just remember that if you want to start with day 1, make sure you start with that day 1 workout on a Wednesday. Any random Wednesday will do, as long as you start with your day 1 workout on a Wednesday. All you have to do is follow along with the playlist and everything will fall into place. I have made it super easy to follow along, but remember that if you need any help along the way, I am here to answer questions and provide guidance. I am here to support you and encourage you and to help motivate you. So do not hesitate to reach out if you have any questions or if you need help. I also need to say thank you to all of my new subscribers. If you are not subscribed already, please subscribe. And of course, a great big thank you to those of you who have been subscribed to my channel for years. Please know that I appreciate you all so very much. One final reminder that if anything is unclear about today's workout, about the format of the workout and how everything fits together, if you have questions about the exercises that we were doing today, if you have any doubts about how to do the exercises with the correct form, or if you need any further help with beginner modifications beyond what I have already provided, I am right here to help, so please just ask. That is going to do it for today. I will see you all right back here tomorrow for day 31. Bye.